Wait, am I ready? Am I ready? Am I ready? We're here, we're here, we're here, we're here.
We're here.
We be here.
We've been doing so much like nonsense on this today.
Cap.
I didn't even think about the fact that we had no theme music. Do you want to sing it with me?
Are we gonna sing it?
Do you want to?
I mean...
Do you know the lead?
I don't know it.
No? Should we have
Alright.
practiced?
Welcome to the Struggles Real Buff. It's weird talking because there's a delay on this, so I'm
There
just
is
going
a
to take
delay.
my headphone off.
We know that the sound works. That's the important part.
Yeah.
Hedge in the left and not in the right. Okay, we're here.
Hi. Welcome to the Struggle is Real Buffalo Music Podcast, where we talk about the good, the bad, the ugly, the weird, the bizarre, and the... Did I already say crazy?
No.
It could get
And the
crazy.
downright crazy of the Buffalo music scene. I am Ryan Gurnett. I am joined on my left by Miss Cassidy Dwan.
I'm here.
It's
Hey.
great to have you in studio again, and we are also joined on our right side by Lewis.
Hello.
Hey, sweet Lou.
Hey, I exist.
So, Lou is in the bands P3P3 and Hubcap.
Hello.
He also is the webmaster for WNYmusic.com now, which is something I greatly appreciate. So thank you very much.
Master of the web deserves a
And hell yeah.
round of
I
applause.
just do my best. That's all. I
And-
really do appreciate the opportunity, though.
He was actually working on an infringement website, a new one for us, when COVID hit, and then between that and WNY Music,
Sure.
everything went crazy.
Yeah, and then I got wrapped up with my own personal crap, so that just like shit the bed.
So yeah, welcome folks. I'm trying to not hide behind the microphone, but there's also two cameras, and I don't know which one I want to look at.
Look at the one that makes you feel the most confident.
They all... Every camera makes me confident. Every camera and every microphone.
You don't need no cameras for confidence.
So happy infringement, everybody. I've been having a really great time. Have you been keeping up on the videos, Cassidy?
I've been infringing in peace. What I appreciate the most from this strange virtual format is that you can go back and dip back into it. And I think that as far as infringement, this is really a blessing in disguise, because we're going to have this excellent 2020 archive of all these performances that, you know, over the 15 years of infringement, we haven't been able to document to this degree.
Yeah, no, I was... I'm going to name drop here. I was interviewed on WBFO. It aired Tuesday about
With the
Buffalo
Nick
Infringement
Lippa.
Festival.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very good.
And that was one of the things we talked about, is that, you know, there's if you want to find infringement videos, there's like 20 different places you can find on the internet, and I don't know what kind of algorithm that YouTube search uses, but like it doesn't work
Right.
at all.
It's
So
broken.
having it all in one place where everyone can find it, that's just really nice. And I also mentioned, you know, you and I speak to students someday again, maybe in the future.
If
and
they let us, if
and
there are students.
yeah, and like even with that, it was a matter of you know, trying to like cobble together a playlist with whatever
From
like
the archives
loose
and the
stuff we could
photos
find.
and doing, you know, it's one thing to see the photos and snapshot of all of these infringement memories, but to be actually able to tap into, okay, day 4, 5, 6 or whatever of 2020 looked like this, it's going to be a gem.
I feel like, and so this is like my first infringement fest. Fun fact: I actually like moved from like a different part of New York into the Buffalo
How dare
area.
you?
I'm sorry. Please forgive me of my transgressions. But I really think that this is really going to help set an example moving forward about how we should approach archiving the events of infringement. Because, like you said, and we've had this conversation before, where like literally there were videos that we couldn't find, or there were videos that were just downright removed or flagged.
Yeah, the piano on fire is gone.
Yeah.
Really?
It's
I
not
I
exist.
actually went to the playlist we created for Fredonia students because I couldn't find it anywhere, and it said it was removed. And I think that's horrible because I was telling him about it, how cool. I mean, I wasn't
Well,
even
the
there.
Piano on
Right.
Fire was part of the infringements wing of the Music is Art Festival.
Yes.
Yes.
As it occurred. And Kevin Urso, with the playing of the piano, was like in the full hazmat suit and everything.
Like the
And,
tinfoil silver suit.
it was quite a feat. We had the sound then. Brian Wantock was working on.
I wasn't there. I have no idea.
So the sound was then rigged in through the silos, so that as he was playing, and the strings were snapping on this piano, and more and more kabooms happen. Obviously, the quality of the sound and everything. It was this whole experimental glory.
I didn't even know anything about that.
Oh yeah, no, they had the sound rung through the silo, and so that owned that space.
I feel like the reverb in that would just be so great, especially when you have an instrument that is just solely based on the stretching and the hitting of like these very tight strings. Because like for me, piano, and you hit that sustain pedal, and you have these notes just like flying out everywhere. That already has its own natural reverb. But I feel like in that space, with everything going on, it just creates a significant and specific sound that you can't really capture at another moment.
Sure.
Absolutely.
And like I haven't even been there, but just picturing it as someone who really enjoys the technicalities of music, it's kind of just one of those like, wow, I really wish I moved to Buffalo sooner.
I wish I knew about infringement sooner. I remember Kurt Rotterdam telling me about it, and I'm like, that's cool. Can we do that again? And he's like, no. Like,
yeah.
Like,
well, there were a lot of jumping through the hoops. You got to have like the fire department there on site.
I used a Robbie Takak quote about how much he enjoyed it during trivia that I don't think I'm going to repeat, but
I'm sure.
He called it a pain in the ass, to say the very least, of having to get all that
so
together.
we can't do that virtually with infringement as far as that site, being there and being a part of that moment. But I think as far as the artists submitting to infringement with this type of a format, it opens doors. Like, you don't think that you have this audience and pressure and whatever bit of anxiety you could feel performing live, maybe for an infringement artist, having this video virtual format is even more of a welcoming thing.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And I 100% agree with you. Like, as someone who, I enjoy a lot of surreal and alternative art, like Eric Andre is probably one of my favorite comedians. I feel like this is a great opportunity to take note at how people can evolve from what they're currently infringing and just go even harder. Because most of the time, and as a performer, I suffer this a lot. The stage fright, the anxiety, like, oh my God, what's going to go wrong? I'm going to mess something up. But, this is like an opportunity for them to really be in their own comfortable atmosphere and really push their limits as to what they're infringing.
Yeah, no, I mean, infringement's all about just trying to do things different and pushing yourself to make be more creative and more strange and more...
Well, I wonder if and when we do have a festival live, we could even still have submitted performances and have some type of a virtual realm to our infringement festival.
That'd be great.
There's things that obviously lend themselves performance-wise to that, and things that you can't do. I am sad for some of my favorite things that I'd like to have happening every year as far as the theater of infringement not being able to happen because of virtual festival. Like when you talk about the theater that happens, as Donovan does with the car stories.
Yeah, it's all the stuff on the street that you can't really... Sure. Even if you record it on video, it's not quite the same as just you walk down the street and there's a guy with a snare drum playing over there, and there's the Smurf parade, which I think was a couple years ago. Like, you just you never really know what you're going to see with that, and, you know, you kind of do this year a little bit, but it's... we're doing what we can, and I think it's great, and I think it's been super entertaining. And on that note, this is going fast. We're 9 minutes in already. Look at this. I should mention that this is episode 59 of the podcast. And on this episode, we're going to be interviewing Montreal Infringement Festival founder, Donovan King, who will be on around 8 talking with us. And we have a whole bunch of clips from the festival we'll be playing as well.
Great.
Lou, what's first on the list?
So, first on the list, we have Darsombra from Insects to Aliens.
Yes, this is Darsombra. They are not a local band. They are from Baltimore. They are world travelers, and they made a video for us this year of them infringing on themselves, is what they're calling it. So this is part 2 from the from the Catalog of Riffage, as they call it.
Catalog of Riffage.
Catalog of Riffage. This is from the opening ceremonies, and you can find any of these past events and all of these future events will be on WNYmusic.com's YouTube page.
Great.
Ooh, take it away.
Let's go.
was Darsombra. That was a part of the Catalog of Riffage. If you go onto YouTube and check it out, that was a part of our opening ceremonies for the festival. And if you check out, what's today, Wednesday?
Yes.
Today is.
Yes, tomorrow is Infringement Movie Night, and as a part of that, we're actually debuting a new movie by Darsombra that's called Transmission. It's a 45-minute movie. I've only seen little bits of it. Like, it's one of those things where, like, I knew where I wanted to put it right away, and I don't want to ruin the surprise. So I'm going to watch it when it debuts. We're also going to have a collection of music videos that night. We're going to have Pam Swartz's local music video show, and more. So that'll be up at 7 o'clock tomorrow. So WNY Music YouTube page, or the infringement page, or like anywhere on you can find it all over the internet.
I've seen it shared, many of the infringement happenings on Facebook, and that's probably the quickest, easiest way
Absolutely.
to link yourself to it if you're into that.
Especially if you're a social media head and you're just like constantly scrolling through Facebook during like your breaks in the workday.
Right?
Absolutely.
At me.
So, do you have a favorite infringement performance this year, Cassidy?
I do and I don't. Of the things that I've already seen,
Yeah, do you have a favorite?
I'm always captivated by Jono's poetry.
Yes.
I always am. And I feel like this year, particularly, having it in a video format where you can really get that solo experience, and I think the energy too, when she's not reading to a crowd, is like, really in her own heart of
Absolutely.
what the sentiment was in the writing. A lot of that gets lost when you're performing in a bookshop or when you're in a bar or wherever else your infringement venue might be.
Yeah, I feel like, and this is just, I'm just kind of just bouncing off your energy right here. There was a proverb I read, and it was I think it was Japanese, and it was basically, we wear 3 masks all day. We wear the one that we show to our everyday public, the one that we show to, the everyday people that we work with and everything, the one that we show to our families and our friends, that's the second one, and then the third one is when we're alone and isolated by ourselves. Like, that is our most truest, purest of selves. So I think, with that being said, that solitude that she has while doing this performance, that really is just kind of a reflection of her truest, most pure.
Well, it's a different kind of brave. She's a brave and bold lady anyway.
Yeah.
But it's a different kind of brave to put your voice out there when there isn't that audience giving you the immediate feedback of, hi, we love you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I could say that for a lot of any of the performers,
Oh,
really.
yeah.
But I think that there's a special kind of bravery that comes from spoken word as a solo performance in video.
Sure. I mean, I've only heard small snippets before, so I hadn't actually heard like a full set of her poetry.
Right.
The beat poetry kind of stuff that she did during opening ceremonies was fantastic. It was really entertaining. And then was it last night? Last night we had the variety pack, and she debuted some material from her upcoming book, Mama Said There'd Be Days Like This.
Right.
And got the raw emotion. She started crying during a ton of those.
She
and
got
I mean,
me. She got me. I saw that.
She got you. She got my wife. She got me a little bit. Like, that was really powerful stuff. So I'm so grateful. She's one of those long-time infringement people that I'm
Sure.
always so grateful for their participation. So
I tuned
was really
in
excited
for the
about that.
Bowie Prince dance party. I did.
Uh-oh.
No, it was so strange, again, with this virtual shit, right? Poop.
No, you can say shit.
All that shit. No, I feel like you're bringing that energy then to an alien space because you're tuning into a dance party or a concert or whatever from your living room or your laptop or your cell phone, and you might be in a park or you might be in your pajamas or you might be... Who knows? Like, you could have infringement from the bubble bath if you want this year. It's really...
Check out the
choose your
burlesque
own
videos.
adventure.
There is one.
Yeah, right? And that type of performance, I have... remind me again, that burlesque troupe.
Glam Vamps.
The Glam Vamps. I didn't want to say it wrong. So that, again, is braver than brave. And, like, hella girl power, man power, whatever your body is, power to go ahead and put yourself out there like that.
Absolutely.
But if you're doing it in a video where it's then going to be archived, and this is a strange thing where you don't have that audience giving you the immediate oh my goodness.
I feel like when you just do the one take, just like winging it, I feel like that right there is probably like you said, probably like some of the bravest things you've ever seen. I haven't seen any of these videos, by the way. I have a plan to. I've just been busy with like a monumental amount of work.
Fine.
But that's the type of stuff that, like, based off what I've seen already and what I've heard, just really, I guess, captivates the whole idea of the festival and the whole idea of doing things in strange places and furthermore just being as expressive and as fringe as possible.
Yeah. And that actually, mentioning the Glam Vamps reminds me that one of the other things on movie night tomorrow night, and I'm actually excited to really watch all of this in full, the Misdemeanors are doing their tribute to John Williams. It's called John Williams is the Man, of course, conductor John Williams, and composer. So I know there's an Indiana Jones themed dance, there's a Jaws themed dance. I think there's Star Wars, but I'm not 100%. I've watched a lot of videos over the last 3 or 4 weeks.
Star Wars, nothing but Star Wars. Right.
Oh, so it's time for another video.
All right.
Yes.
Ooh, what's next?
All right. So next we have.
Oh, and before you start, I just want to thank who is in the room currently. I see John Galbo, who is our sound editor, typically, who chopped up all these clips for us so we can show them to you. Thank you, John. Also, if you
Tremendous
folks,
undertaking.
if you folks ever if you want to chat during the episode, send something in the main chat, and if you have questions, comments, etc., we'd love to actually interact because we usually can't. So,
yeah, here in the room in real time. It's
Yes.
super cool.
Yeah, I'll be checking out the chat, so if you guys have any questions or just want to make any comments or anything like that, by all means, send it my way.
cool. So,
Be like, how's my hair?
Yeah, how's my hair?
Ryan's is great. What's next? What's next?
All right, so next is a clip by the Phriendly Phoes, and
oh man, I had heard of Phriendly Phoes, but I'd never seen them before. I just thought they were going to be like a jam band from the description they put in.
Okay.
It's there's two-person like funk group with loops and like you'll see. Like I was blown away when I saw this video.
Now, are
Like,
they Western New York natives?
Yes, they are.
Okay.
So yeah, let's watch some Phriendly Phoes.
all right, awesome.
fast. The damage is done, the room's trashed. I'm feeling harmless. Cut 'em all, but so low, Billy Bailey at the base, and the trees peeled up, and damn it, do a lake. All the steps I lost to me, and this motherfucker really loves to talk. You walk uptown where the groundswell into the homeless street club built up by feminine loners, and I never wanna be smacked down in the daytime. I'm just being honest. Thanks a lot. We're Phriendly Phoes. Thanks for having us.
Thanks, everybody.
And we are back.
Hello.
I don't know why every time I put the headphones on and I hear my echo of myself, it makes me talk slower. It's the weirdest
Be like,
thing.
maybe if I slow down, the echo won't happen.
Yeah, it's like, okay, I'm just going to wait for the word to catch up to my mouth. That was Phriendly Phoes. Wasn't that awesome?
That was awesome. And infringement perk of all infringement perks is that something like that you might not really be able to find a place to book as easily, like, because it's a duo and like you're like, what kind of category of music is this and what kind of venue would be accepting it. Infringement has a place for it.
Infringement has a place for everyone.
That's right.
So yeah, we were talking about the Prince versus David Bowie dance party a little earlier. I actually I upgraded my internet connection for infringement, and it was actually for uploading videos at first because it took so long. We had the dance party, and it was fun. Like, I danced for like the first 20-30 minutes, and that's about all I have in the tank. But and we had a lot of people with some cool light shows going on, and Spectrum didn't tell me that when I upgraded my service, I had to like reboot my modem and my like router and everything. So we actually hit a wall at like, let's see, we started at 9, probably about 10:15, where the internet just stopped working altogether. Yeah.
I love the sound effect machine.
Which was a shame, but you live, you learn.
So in our commentary here, Leslie had said, you know, she hosted the dance party.
Yes, she did.
And she's been an infringement organizer over the last 15 years of infringing. But she said She celebrates the weird. And I'm glad that in the world as it is, in the weird that we're living, we're allowed to celebrate and still partake in infringement weird, which is normal
Yes.
weird and lovely weird,
It's good weird.
right?
But then like, classifies as weird. That's just an extra.
Nah, I'm just talking about these strange times.
Oh, man.
Oh, so I wanted to talk about day 2 of the festival. So this is I have a story.
Do it.
So Lou knows a thing about it. He tried to help. I really didn't want to put everything up on YouTube just because I'm not experienced with YouTube. I don't know how censorship works on there.
Sure.
So I looked at WordPress, and the limit for uploading was 256 megs.
Right.
The first video was 20 gigs. So Lou changed it. He got it up to 13 gigs, then 14 gigs, then 200 gigs. And finally I'm like, let's do this. So I slide everything to load it up, and no matter what happens at 37%, WordPress just has a fucking meltdown and just stops. So it's like...
It was just not gonna happen.
Yeah, so it's like, well, this isn't going to work. However, everything's on Google Drive. You can embed Google Drive videos into
Okay.
your page. There's a limit. And whatever that limit is, it's very small, because in just trying to get that day of the festival, one day of the festival on the page, I exceeded the views for the day.
Is this a who makes the money kind of an issue, though? Like, why can't we have it's just
So
bandwidth, or what are we talking
For
about?
WordPress, I think it's bandwidth. Like, I have unlimited, but they certainly don't want me to go like that, I don't think.
actually, the way that it works is
Resident technical analysis.
Yeah.
It's nice to have me on board today.
Yes.
Technically, the way that it works is if you don't have a limit or a plugin that affects the upload size or the viewing rate, what's going to happen is it's going to slow the website down. So if
Okay.
someone wants to navigate to it, WordPress is just going to constantly, keep stopping. So they have fail safes, which is why they have like such a low limit for any videos that go up there, or any YouTube embedding that goes in there. And you can always work around with it and just play with it and try to expand the page as much as possible. But at the end of the day, it's literally just like fail safe, so that if the website does crash, we're not like scratching our heads trying to figure out what went wrong.
Yeah.
It's really weird
Right.
because like I set it, and like you said, I set this thing to 200 gigabytes for an upload size, and usually depending on how much space you have on your hard drive depends on how much you can upload. So right there from the get-go, you already have this issue where like if you only have 15 gigs left on your laptop, that's how much you're going to be able to upload.
So we go through all that.
Technical difficulties.
Oh my
Technical
goodness!
difficulties.
So the morning of, I upload the day 2 video at like noon. Nothing, no problems. I don't hear anything. 6:15, I go to like, I'm gonna set the video live. Let's do this. 3 copyright claims. Now, typically with a copyright claim, the way it would work is that you just can't monetize your video.
Right.
However, some artists don't want their music played no matter what. AC/DC is like that. The Beatles, the music of Hamilton,
Well,
stuff
if you're
like
playing
that.
it at a Trump rally or some kind of nonsense, you want those restrictions in place for the artist's sake.
Oh yeah. No, I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I completely understand it.
Can I ask what the red flags were?
Just the music itself, right?
It was, I think one of them may have been an AC/DC song.
Okay.
And then one of them was a song by the Belly Dancers, where every character was in a language I don't personally know. And then the third one, and oddly enough, this one ended up disappearing later on. La Marimba actually got a copyright claim on one of their own songs.
Dude.
So I see this at 6:15. It's supposed to go live at 7. I'm like, all right, mute the song. And they're like, well, you can't choose all of them at once. You can only do one at a time. And I'm like, all right, how long could it This is YouTube. This is gigantic YouTube. This is rules the universe of videos YouTube.
Ran by Google.
Clearly, ran by Google. Clearly, they can process. The first one took 6 hours to process. At 11 o'clock that night, this is supposed to go live at 7 p.m. At
Right.
11 o'clock at night, it finally was like, hey, I'm okay. And then I do the second one, and then the next morning, it's there,
Right.
and I'm like, but that was...
Well, then you got a double down day
Oh,
of
yeah.
infringing, right?
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah, that Saturday was fantastic then.
Yeah.
So we had all sorts of stuff
Got
going
an
on.
extra side of fries with that.
Exactly. So, I also want to mention while we're here, if you're interested in volunteering for the festival, if you want to be a part of what we're doing every year, we need a ton of volunteers. And, if we're talking about how great it is that everything's digital right now, but it's worth noting that, if we want everything to be digital next year, we need people to record them. So.
Oh dear God, I hope not everything is digital next year, but.
No, yeah, but I mean, even if we want to try and record all the performances for
Sure.
posterity's sake, we need those people to do that. We need people to help put the schedules together. We need, this year we needed video editors for the first time
It takes
ever.
a village.
So, yeah, so if this sounds cool, I think it's a great way for people who want to get involved in music. That's why we speak for college classes. It's a good way to get involved with things. The reason I'm booking at Milky's and the reason I get to do so much other cool stuff was because of the people I met through Infringement Festival.
Sure.
So if music's something you want to do and you're having trouble getting a foothold, volunteer. Hit us up.
Or for that matter, some of the stranger things. If street art or theater or poetry or any of those outside of the box things are things that you're into that you don't see a space for, or that you don't have a means to get out of your own way to actually have happen. Infringement is
we could if we had some more theater people and a workshop person and some other stuff like that, that would be so helpful. So if that interests you at all, you can actually just send me a message. It's sirwilliamidol@gmail.com. Idol is IDOL for the people who don't get the reference. Yes, send me a message, and I'm so happy to kind of tell you what you can do. And infringement for us is year-round. As soon as August 3rd hits and this festival's over, I got to talk to Kurt because Music is Art is going digital, so I don't know if we're going to go digital as a part of that since we were always involved with Music is Art. So we have that.
It'd be nice to highlight the best of these infringement days during the Music is Art's virtual festival, right?
I'll have to talk to Kurt. It's all about...
That would be lovely.
Kurt's the man as far as that's concerned. So we have that, and then there's going to be a post-mortem at some point in the next couple weeks about the festival being over.
How do we do the paper plates from a distance?
They are available online. No one has filled any out yet. There are IFFY awards. You can find an event for it on the Infringement Facebook page. There's a link for it from the schedule page, too, on WNYmusic.com. Now, if you see something you like, if you see someone who's working their butt off, you download the paper plate, you use MS Paint, that's what I still use, and you scroll your image on there and you send it back to us, and we will hang it on the wall for everyone to see.
Oh, I'm so glad I asked. Clap for that.
Thank you. Yeah, no, that's that is one of my favorite parts. Vincent Lima, who if you can give him a round of applause too.
Oh, does he need one? Yeah. We'll give him a cash sign. That boy is
go.
money.
Vincent is an intern of ours this year, and he did all the video editing for every day of the festival.
That's like hours.
That's a huge undertaking.
That's a huge undertaking. I lost my train of thought.
We're talking about the IFFYs. I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to nominate Vinny's 2 flash drives for an IFFY. They were of vital importance. They did a lot of heavy lifting. They carried the load, if you will.
The sync one on.
Oh, man. And as long as we're just talking about that before we go to another song, I wanted to mention this, and I'm going to be talking about it as much as possible because I think it's really cool. On WNYmusic.com, we've brought back a lot of the things that used to be there, things like the list of bands and the event calendar, and then we've added things like the blog and the podcast page. The next mission is the Archive of Music.
I love that mission.
So, in the 80s and 90s in particular, before music was digitized, that music might be lost. I even uploaded some of my own music up there recently, and the guys in my band were like, "Oh, you have that? I don't have that." And
right,
it's like,
because otherwise it's in a cassette tape and someone's...
Yeah, and it's like,
yeah, right.
when you look at it, and it's like the artists don't even have their own music. That makes me so upset. So if you have any music from the 80s or 90s that you were a part of, that you want to be a part of the archive, I'm basically contact one band a day at this point, and I have this list of 200 bands. So if that's something that interests you, if you know someone who is making music at that time, even if it's a crappy high school band, I already uploaded my crappy high school band. So please get on that. Send us a line on WNYmusic.com. The email address there is WNYmusicguy@gmail.com. I think that's so important. To be honest, I think that's a really big deal, and it's something that,
I feel like with archiving music, especially from the 80s and 90s, you're really just captivating the essential moments that built us up to where we are now.
Absolutely.
Especially in this community where, you know, the music scene is alive, the music scene is moving, the art scene in general is also moving. You have the theater scene that's also moving, especially with Infringement Fest. And as someone who, you know, was a part of a different music scene, I've never seen one that is more alive and thriving than the one that I am currently in right now, and that's the Buffalo music scene. And this is from someone with an outside looking in perspective and then actually moving into it.
Sure. No, that's fantastic to hear. You know,
I like how Ryan Gurnett says, you know, it's for posterity's sake. And the truth is, don't you want to be able to show your kids and maybe your kids' kids, if you're so lucky, the shitty band you were in high school?
Absolutely.
To be like, look how fucking cool I thought I was when I was 16 years old, dude. You'll never be this cool ever.
I wrote a song. You guys both know this story.
Oh my god.
22 years ago, my band wrote a song about a basketball player named George Mirasan. For those who aren't super old, he was this 7'7" basketball player. He wasn't that good. He just kind of got in the way. And he had
that's
this,
all you play.
Yeah, he was from somewhere overseas, so he had this really bizarre accent. And then he starred in the movie My Giant with Billy Crystal. I don't know if that might ring a bell.
Oh, I saw it.
So I uploaded this song called Just Like George Mirasan that my band made, and then I play NBA 2K20, the basketball game. 4 hours after I uploaded that, they're like, hey, here's a free George Mirasan card.
What?
And I'm like, what the hell? So, you know, just me being here and bored, I ended up uploading that whole story to Twitter with a link to the song, and George Mirasan retweeted it. And that's... Oh, man. Honestly,
that's like manna from heaven.
I sent that to the rest of the guys in my band, and they're just like, oh, my God. And I was like, that made me so happy to have that. And like I said, they didn't have access to the music. And that's, you know, we had so much fun. It seems like a shame that happened. And, God, we're 40. This is like running fast, isn't it? We got, okay, let's play another song.
All right, let's get to it.
What is next, Lewis?
Okay.
Uh-huh.
So next we have the Stress Dolls.
Oh,
Thank goodness.
This is a great song. I will mention Stress Dolls just put out an album on July 24th. You can find it on Spotify and Bandcamp. And there will be a review of that album on WNYmusic.com shortly after the festival's over. I want to have that up soon. And on our next episode, we'll actually have a track from that album to play for you. But in the meantime, this was the first single she recorded and the performance she made of it.
Perfect.
2 months into the hospital, but it still feels like day one. Whether up or down, I'm in my bed before the setting sun. And if it sounds like a repose or a certain sense of hell, I assure you that I'm doing fine. Really, everything is well. About sunny days or the sticky southern heat of the pride I felt walking across that road in my bare feet. I admit there's times I can't be sure if that life is meant for me, or if I'll make it back to Nashville eventually. 2 months back into your arms, and I really can't complain. It's just now you got me thinking hard about whether I should stay. And I thought my lungs were more secure and that I could defend. I'm the woods demanding permanence, something left in the past. 'Cause I don't think twice about sunny days or the sticky southern heat of the pride I felt walking across that road in my bare feet. And I admit there's times I can't be sure if that life is meant for me, or if I'll make it back to Nashville eventually. southern heat of the pride I felt walking across that road in my bare feet. And I admit there's times I can't be sure that life was meant for me. What if I'll make it back to Nashville eventually? Or if I'll make it back to Nashville eventually? Oh, I hope I make it back to Nashville.
And we're back. And I put the headphones on, and I talk slow again.
No, you did.
We're interviewing Donovan in 15 minutes, and I don't know what the hell I'm gonna have to like listen to his answer and then take the headphone off, and then, or I'm just gonna talk really, really slow, like really.
Get him some caffeine. We're ready. What is this?
This is my Coca-Cola energy drink.
That'll do.
They didn't have my my
That'll
Mountain
do.
Dew Kickstarter at Walgreens. Unfortunately.
Oh, that's all poison. It's all poison.
Boo. So we kind of talked about this year for Infringement Festival. Do you have an you've been involved longer than I have? Do you have an favorite infringement
I've
festival?
hung around, right? Like some of my favorite infringement things were by accident of looking at the day's schedule and saying, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna go to Jose's backyard." There used to be Space 224, whatever it was, the address on Allen Street across from the Pink, and there were events there and in the yard. I saw by accident at a performance for a musician friend some body painters, just like live painting.
Painting their bodies?
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Like nude people being painted such that they no longer appear
That was my
nude.
first year in the festival. That was a surprise.
It's like something that I would see in like New York City.
I always like the gongoranium, which is obviously something that we can't do, but Ethan Axelrod puts that together, correct?
Yeah, that thing's cool.
I think all of that crowd participation, anything that I can enjoy in these last better part of 9 years, my kid's been around going to the festival with me, where I can bring the kid in tow and just, take it all in and have it be something that's family friendly. I'm very sad about the College Street block party. I know that was very much a part of the Infringement Festival here in Buffalo, and then kind of had its own separate and outside of still happening. But those types of days were some of my very best infringement memories. Car stories, the couple times that I participated in Days Park. Again, all of that really outside of the box crowd participating theater, I miss. I liked how...
I was really looking forward to Car Stories this year.
What was the first year they did the theater out of the back of the van?
The performance...
It was like an order on your menu. What kind of a theater are you here for? And then you participate with the theater from their van. And
So is it like you're so just for a little bit of clarity. So is it like they give you a list of like the types of
imagine street food, right? And you're going up to the truck window and you're gonna order your type of performance, but they're gonna act it with you for you per your order. Right. And this is happening on the street, on Allen Street, in front of all your favorite local bars. And, you tiptoe out of Nietzsche's and they're like, what kind of a show do you want to see and be in at the same time? So, yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of memories from infringement that really, really strike as once in a lifetime kind of happenings. It's not something you can repeat the way that infringement happens.
It's something that I'm definitely looking forward to next year.
Excellent.
Parades. I miss the parades. Those were so magical. Yes, because you start out at the Co-op House on North, and you're parading with the opening ceremonies down to Nietzsche's and 12/8 Path Band or whatever kind of a pickup band, a Brass Pro will lead the parade. Those memories to me are like the magic of summer. And so as much as I'm sad we weren't able to continue it in the same respect this year, it's nice to reflect upon them for sure. And it's nice to think about in future years being able to utilize the virtual edge of infringing as well.
Yeah, for me, I've done Broadway Market. I did Broadway Market.
Sure.
Even Broadway Market this year, which is going to be playing on Saturday. I love that venue. It's this wonderful relic of Buffalo, New York, and it's underused, and like you have 3 floors of music
for sure.
And I'm a huge fan of that. Oh man, you were right about like the opening and closing. The parade is always a lot of fun. You know what I miss Art Under the Stars in Mike Mully and Kurt Rotterdam's backyard.
Yeah.
That was always the best. Like you just like kind of walk into the fence and you have no idea what to expect. It could be like Rucksuck and Darsombra, or it could be like one time I saw a guy who was playing a sitar to like hip hop beats, and there's
Right.
paintings on the wall, and people bring free food, and it's just a whole bunch of people just hanging out in the backyard, and everyone is just having a blast, and they all know that like, oh well, this is going to end at 9, and then we all have to go over to Nietzsche's for the
Right.
next thing. Just like having that.
And I think the camaraderie and that kind of being together for those kinds of things and the energy of it is what's truly missed doing it this way. But again, I was really poo-poo about the virtual festival. I was really down on it. I'm not going to lie. There were years past where I had organized some children type friendly build your own instrument things, or, you know, be in a little parade of your own marching band kind of things. Again, you can't really do that this year. There were some performance art things that I was able to participate in through infringement that you can't really do because you can't really sight unseen have that effect. But also the Broadway Market, when you talk about that being an underutilized, open all year round type of a market, to have that performance where you got this band over here, or David Adams act playing his violin echoing through the hall of the stairwell, or the rooftop being what it is for bands to be playing out there, I think that it really kind of does become about the location and seeing something outside of the box in a place where you don't expect to see it. Mm-hmm. God forbid you be one of these people who were just there not to see and participate in the Infringement Festival on our day there at the Broadway Market, and then you'd just be overjoyed with, you know, or, I don't know, scared.
Yeah, one of the two.
There's no.
I'd be overjoyed. Man, if I walked into that kind of party, I'd be like, every day.
Absolutely.
4 more years.
Honestly, for me, it was like going back. Like I went to music school. It was just like college all over again. It was.
We're out in the quad.
Oh, it was just. It's great because like you graduate and then those people are kind of gone depending on what happened. I mean, I was in Albany, and within a year and a half of graduating, everyone was gone.
Right.
It's just like, oh. And then you to come back here and find this again, like, I didn't know this existed with people of, like, a certain age. So to see all of this, it makes me so happy.
It's like a type of community that just is so... It just I'm sorry. It just bounces off of each other with, like, such an energy that brings everyone together.
Or like a family reunion, no?
Exactly!
Yeah.
There we go!
Yeah, I like that.
Layman's terms.
Right?
Yeah. And
Be like, oh, there's my strange cousin Donovan from Montreal. He's back again.
And that's just something that, like, you can't replace. Even when you do it in a different format, it's just something that's always going to be there because it's the sense of community and everyone coming together that really, you know, propels this forward.
Yeah. Yeah.
I still want to do some kind of a triptych of all of the year's infringement logos and designs.
Oh,
you know, I would
make a
love
shirt
to
like
hang
that.
that on my wall, though, if I had it like as a poster of all of them.
Like a long
Heck
timeline
yeah.
just
I'll
going-
donate $50 for that. Let's do it.
Hell yeah. Amy, I know you're watching. That's going to be your project starting next
For
week.
sure.
I'm not doing it. So, why don't we play one more song, and then we're going to get to Donovan King.
All right.
So, what is next?
So, let's see. I'm just kind of going around.
I thought you made a playlist.
I did.
Okay.
Give us the goods.
Give us the goods. All right. So next is the Bloodthirsty Vegans. Can't Be Afraid.
Awesome.
I've been looking forward to this.
Yes, this is a preview for the Broadway Market show that is going to be debuting
Nice.
on Saturday, August 1st. That'll be going live at 3 p.m.
Cool.
So here's some Bloodthirsty Vegans here on the Struggle is Real Buffalo Music Podcast on WNYmusic.com.
Woo-hoo.
let's go, we're in your niggas cool songs, they get you, they go to the highlight down, it's all tripping, ducking all the zone, and niggas are playing, and yeah, we can't be afraid. No, you can't be afraid. All around the world, more shots for no reason. With lots of gas, like it's hunting season. Good people are your mind, so dark it's like treason. How many more good people are bleeding? But we can't be afraid. No, we can't be afraid.
We are back, and this lag is still happening in the headphones. We are joined by Montreal Infringement Festival founder Donovan King. Don, thank you so much for joining us. This is awesome.
My absolute pleasure.
Oh. Yeah, man. He's wearing my favorite year's shirt.
Oh,
it's my favorite too.
Yeah.
That is. At some point, we should take all these old infringement shirts and reprint them, because there's so many cool designs that I didn't get in on.
Right, can't you do them in limited batch orders?
We'll talk about that when we don't have Donovan.
I got lots of ideas.
So, you know, I've been helping coordinate this festival for about 2-3 years now. When you first started the festival, how did you kind of first get that kind of core of volunteers to set everything up?
Well, for us, it was a little bit different. We had been kicked out of the Fringe Festival here in Montreal, which is actually a festival we helped found, but it got taken over with a trademark and a corporate approach. So we already had a team in place, and then there had been other people alienated by this approach who also joined us. And then, of course, you had your local misfits and whatnot as well. And so it was a very countercultural time. It was all done in a neighborhood called the Plateau, which was once upon a time a very artistic neighborhood. Unfortunately, it's been so gentrified now. None of the artists live there anymore, and so it's too bad, you know. But that's what we've been going through here in the city is a hyper gentrification, which means most of the small venues have been closed down, and it's very, very difficult to do this type of grassroots arts anymore in Montreal.
Oh, that's a damn shame.
Yeah.
So now, is the Montreal Infringement Festival still operating, or did it stop within the recent years?
Yeah, it's kind of gone underground. Like a lot of the artists are doing individual infringement projects. A lot of it has to do with what's called Truth and Reconciliation in Canada, which is an attempt to reconcile colonization, which is very hard to do, of course. So there's been a lot of that, but there's also been another subcomponent whereby we've tried to find a way to pay artists union-based wages on a regular basis, and that's something that's always been absent in Montreal. We've got mostly these types of festivals like today's Fringe, which actually charges the artist to pay to play, and so we wanted to try to reverse that trend, and we found out a way to do it, and it's actually through theatrical guiding tours. And so haunted walks and things like that, where we embed all sorts of political messages. But in terms of the original festival format, we can't really do that anymore because of all of this gentrification that's pretty much wrecked the city's culture. And it's also a lack of support from local arts organizations who are all sort of tied into this corporate formula whereby they're taking government grants, corporate sponsorships, they're naming festivals after corporations, and it's a very small minority of people making money off of this. It's often the arts administrators instead of the artists who are getting ahead, and it's sort of a warning to any city that's undergoing this. I know Buffalo is right now, and Allentown certainly isn't the same as what it used to be when the fest started in 2005. I mean, I've seen so many places scatter away from Allentown. They couldn't afford it anymore. Not only artists, but also venues like Rust Belt Books and things like that. So it's tricky to kind of hold it together. But at the end of the day, I think we need like systemic change in terms of how the arts works. Otherwise, we're going to get crushed.
No, I agree with that, and that is a concern I think we have here in Buffalo. And I think one of the things I've always looked at as far as, musicians and housing and being able to live downtown and stuff is that it was $5 to get in a show 25 years ago. It's $5 to get in a lot of shows now. And when you have the venues even taking some of that money from you, like, it's getting harder and harder every year, every time, the dollar's worth a little less for these musicians to keep on going, and I think that's a damn shame.
Yeah.
So you're saying in a way that you're doing some kind of a co-op artistry with your improv guided tour theater. You have a collective of people who are pooling.
Yeah, and so in a nutshell, we have a few different divisions. One of them is more professional in terms of it's like a business model, and that employs actors to pay them union-based wages. But we also have a more activist model, which is interesting because in Montreal, it's actually illegal to do a guided tour unless you do this course, right? And so I actually
mostly love Canadians, but that sounds like stupid.
Yeah, and so it's a bit different with the haunted tours because those are actors, and a regular tour guide cannot do that. They cannot, say, project their voice or tell a story well or whatever. And so the other division is we're doing these sort of activist anti-colonial tours, but because these are illegal unless you have this permit, we're stirring up a lot of shit at the city hall, and we're saying, well, why aren't Indigenous people allowed to give a guided tour on their own unceded territory of Jojage? This is the Mohawk people. And so we're getting them involved as well at places like Ganawagi Tourism, and suddenly all of these questions are appearing over the city, and their legal departments are in full drive trying to sort this out, and the media is going and whatnot. And so again, it's it's a different type of approach we're taking, but the goal of it is systemic change. We don't want these restrictions in place for anyone. I mean, any artist should be allowed to give a guided tour. That's the oldest art form in the world.
Sure, especially when you
and
talk
to
about
think
those
that
native
it's
cultures and storytelling, right?
Yeah, and to think it's illegal for an indigenous person to give a tour of their own territory just shows how messed up the system is here. It's still very much rooted in colonialism, and we've got a lot of these sort of nasty laws still in place that have to go. And so, that's another approach that we're taking in addition to the more professional one. But, there's a lot going on, but again, it's very much underground. The corporate fringe has been kind of gaslighting us ever since we started the infringement in 2004. And eventually it sort of wears you down, and you're lucky in that you don't have this type of corporate enemy in your city, not yet. I mean, it's slowly encroaching in. You've got one in Rochester already started up.
Yep.
But once it comes in, watch your backs, I mean, these guys are nasty.
I want to fight the corporations. Bring them on.
Fight the system.
Yeah. Oh man, that sucks. That's ridiculous. So, for closing ceremonies, we're going to be airing your your censored thesis from I think the very first infringement festival. Do you want to kind of tell us a little bit about that? Why was it censored in the first place?
Well, when I was at the University of Calgary studying a thesis in the late 1999 actually, and I wanted to do radical theater, the same type of stuff that makes up the infringement. And they wanted me to direct, classic theater for a subscriber audience. And so this is where we ran into some problems. And they wanted to, on the one hand, teach me all of these amazing theories of things like post-colonialism and feminism and, all of these different approaches to the theater, but they did not want me to apply them in any way. And so this is where it all blew up. And, eventually I left the campus sort of dejected. I'd done the coursework and I was waiting to get a thesis proposal, but then Car Stories, which I was trying to make the proposal, got deliberately kicked out of the Fringe Festival, the corporate one, by challenging their corporate sponsor, which also happened to be the corporate media. And so, essentially the dean, when he heard about this, he says, Donovan's not allowed to do any more theater on the campus. He's not allowed to communicate with anyone unless it's in a written letter. And so when I went to appeal this, I actually had to fly back to Calgary. I actually had to wear a typewriter around my neck just so I could type a professional letter to communicate with people, because according to the dean, I wasn't even allowed to speak, or do hand gestures or anything like that, And so this is the type of arts I love. It's culture jamming. You basically stick a big stick into the spokes of some oppressive system, and you see it all start coming apart. And of course, you take major injuries in the process. But at the end of the day, if you look at the University of Calgary's website, they just announced last year that I'm a thought leader and, an artist leader in the field and all this blah, blah, blah. That's very positive on their alumni site. And also their Department of Drama that put me through this hell eventually got deconstructed and reintegrated into a more activist performing arts department that includes music and other forms of art as well, dance, etc. And so, a project like this may have taken 20 years, and I took a bruising, but that's how you bust a systemic oppressive system. And it's, we're trying to do the exact same thing with the infringement, and it's this one could take a long, long time if what's keeping up in Edinburgh. They made a World Fringe Congress whereby they're trying to put every fringe in a corporate model, and so we got censored from them as well.
Jesus.
And so, it's a huge problem. But what makes me feel positive is in today's day and age, with this enormous explosion of activism after George Floyd's death, we're seeing demands from the most oppressed people, the Black people, the Indigenous people, people of color. We're probably going to hear mental illness coming up more in the future because it's often tied into that. And so I think maybe the infringement might be able to spark into something bigger once again, but these are the factors we're playing with in a globalized world. It's a very interesting and disturbing time for sure.
Definitely. Oh, let's talk about something happier.
It's so weird to have your school gratify and incentivize your work as an afterthought, but not really fuel you and give you any type of a leverage as you're trying to create the change,
Yeah. So what's the weirdest thing you've seen at an infringement festival?
Yeah.
That's a great question. Okay, now when we first started the infringement, in Buffalo, we were invited by Kurt Schneiderman, who'd set it up, and he met us at the Toronto Fringe, and he wanted a fringe, but it was illegal because of a trademark in New York. And so I said, why don't you start an infringement? And so that's why you guys have this amazing infringement.
Oh, wow, I didn't know that.
But that first year we were there, we actually did synchronized swimming in the Fountain of Days Park. And we have these wonderful photos where all these people are moving in unison. And, eventually they cracked down on that. I think they put a fence around the fountain or something. Mm-hmm. But it was that type of spirit of we're just going to do the craziest things on a whim. We're going to improvise. We're going to live life to the full. To me, that's what the infringement is. And that's when I go to Buffalo, I love it. I'm always treated with the best hospitality I've ever had in my life. I'm put up in a mansion sometimes, old Wonder Moth, or they'll set up a tent for me.
You were in a fancy
Molly's
gazebo
place
last year, man.
Yeah, and so it's always this incredible hospitality, but also this incredible community. And everywhere I go, I know people. And it's not the sad thing is in Montreal's art scene, it's not like that at all. I avoid a lot of these places because of the poisoning of the community by the fringe. I prefer to work just sort of privately in these small areas doing these tours or these different events or things like that. And so you guys have nailed this idea of what it means to be a real community, and with no corporate interference, with no one like an arts administrator at the top with an agenda to pad their pockets or whatever, but it's artist run. It is gorgeous. This to me is real culture, and I can't believe that you've taken this idea I had that kind of never really worked here as much as we would have liked, and you've blossomed it into what it really should be. And hopefully that idea is going to spread to other cities around the world, because, if you have a community and if they're willing to work hard on behalf of those artists, and if they're also intertwined, you've got a great solution right there to this, this blasé corporate monoculture that's everywhere. And it's just so exciting to go to a space like that because it really barely exists anywhere anymore.
Yeah. One of the things that kind of gets me a little excited was I actually went to the Montreal Infringement Festival page website. You have instructions on how to start an infringement festival in there.
Nice.
And
yeah,
I think that's great because when Cassidy and I actually go to colleges sometimes to try and get volunteers, try to find people who need that kind of experience when they get out of college. And I completely lost my train of thought. What was I talking about?
Starting your own infringement festival. How-to.
When I go to Fredonia and talk to students there, they're not just Buffalo. A lot of them aren't Buffalo. One of our best infringement interns is doing everything from New York City. Mm-hmm. So I actually have them asking me about how can I do this in my town when I leave for the summer. And now that I found that there, I think that's a fantastic tool for helping spread that. And I hope that's something that we can all work together to try and do, is develop a few of these in different places. Because, you know, I'm reaching these music students, and they understand. I mean, when you're that young, you understand the idea of just free, expressive art, doing what you want.
Well, and you don't want the adult in the room to say no.
Exactly.
We can't do this because we're Starbucks now, or whatever it is, you know. And the idea of saying, I've got my own space, I've got my own idea, and not only that, but I've got this community rallying behind me to make this event possible. I think that that's really what it takes.
It's that interdependence.
So,
within a
yeah,
community
thanks.
that really
Take the ball.
Yeah.
So we asked you what the weirdest proposal you've seen. What was the most difficult one to pull off that you've had to participate in?
Ooh, for me personally.
Yeah.
Well, basically in Montreal, when we did car stories originally, we had a lot of problems. And I'm talking about neighbors who were complaining about the actors honking their horns.
For those who don't know, what is car stories?
Well, it's basically theater in cars. And so you've got 3 spectators in the back and 2 actors in the front. And so there's many different models. You know, the original one, we had 4 different cars and 4 different sets of actors. You know, but you can sort of change it a little bit if you want. In Buffalo, sometimes you've had up to 10 people on the show just because it was so in demand, who would peek through the windows to see what was happening. But, I mean, that year we first did it in Montreal. The police arrived one time when there was a scene, you know, theoretically at the border, right? And so someone was dressed as an officer and had a fake gun, and it was just like a total shit show. You know, I had to break the character and run out and try to explain to the cops what was going on. It was crazy. But, you know, we've had a lot of crazy experiences with car stories because it does kind of blend theater and reality. If you're in the show, you know you're in a piece of theater, but if you're just walking down the street and witness this,
That's the best part.
it might seem very real to you. In another case, in Allentown, I was playing a real estate broker and talking about how we're going to demolish all of these homes on, what's the street, the one Mike lives on?
College Street.
College Street, yes. So I was going down and explaining to the clients or the guests of the show how we're going to demolish all of this and build condos here. You know, and some of the residents actually came out and started like challenging me, and they're like, "That's never going to happen here." And I'm
But
like, "The
imagine
writing's on the
participating.
wall, you know.
all-
Your home's going to be bought out within the next 2 years." And so it's like, that's why I love car stories. It just creates this incredible zone that's it's like it's what Derrida calls la différence, you know. So it's both theater and reality, but it's neither theater nor reality at the same time. Just like a zombie is both alive and dead, and yet it's neither alive nor dead. And so it's kind of this disturbing, interesting space. But that's the type of space I love to work in. It's to me the most exciting space, and that's the culture jamming space where, you know, the artists go into reality directly and start playing with it to cause some type of reflection. And so, you know, that's sort of the basis of the work at its root, really.
It's wholly creative and admirable to do that type of an improv experience theater. I loved when I participated in Car Stories with you, not knowing what the hell I was signing up for. You know what I mean? And the truth is, like, I'm sure as the one guiding the theater experience, half of the time you don't really know what that unique jaunt through the car stories or whatever that 15, 20 minutes is going to look like for you, because you can have these neighbors coming out thinking, oh, you're going to knock down my neighborhood, whatever it is. But I wish almost that we could have that type of an experience as an escape room theater venue. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But again, would you have corporate sponsorship to do this? Would you be allowed in the neighborhood to establish that type of an outside of the box, you know, no. You gotta create it. You gotta on your own. So, kudos. I think it's great.
Cheers.
Where are we?
All right, we're out of time.
We're out of time.
Yes. I haven't mentioned this once, and I really should have. At 8:30, the Living Dead Girls are going to have their podcast playing right after this.
Yeah.
So, Donovan, I'd love to talk to you for like another hour, but time.
And it's sad not to have you here in Buffalo for the Infringement Festival this year. I hope that for next year's sake we get to see you here.
I'll be there for sure. I'm shattered that the border is still closed. I mean, my mother lives right across the border in Malone, New York. I can't even visit her, so.
We're not allowed, yeah. How awful.
Yeah, so, but yeah, next year, let's hope, knock on wood, that this pandemic is cleared 100% and we can, like, go for it, you know?
Yeah.
Thanks for representing and wearing that cool shirt, too.
I love this shirt. It's my favorite one.
Well, Donovan, thanks for coming on. We really, really appreciate it. And honestly, just, for me, I've done a lot of the heavy lifting this year. And sometimes you don't get a lot of feedback from people, but your support has really meant a lot to me during kind of the rough time we've been having this season. So I really just wanted to thank you for that. And yeah, man, thanks for coming on.
Hey, my pleasure. I've always got your guys' back. Never forget that.
We got your back. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Awesome. All right, Lou, what are we playing next?
All right. So, next we have Shannon Vanderlyn.
Oh, we're going to play History by Shannon Anderlin.
Vanderlyn?
Yeah, God, stupid.
Take those off, man.
Yeah. This is I love Shannon Vanderlyn. She hasn't written a lot of new material over the last couple years, but this is one of the new songs she wrote. It's called History. If you've listened to this podcast before, you know she's like my favorite voice in Buffalo. So, spin the record. It's not a record. It's a video.
I've rewritten history because honesty was catching up with me. But reality
And that was History by Shannon Vanderlyn. God, I love her.
Her voice is dreamy.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, I can't say enough. I cannot say enough good things about her, especially since she went to the College of St. Rose, which is the same college I went to.
Was it Infringement when she was playing at Mohawk, kind of mid-room last year?
That was a fundraiser.
That was a fundraiser for
I got
Infringement.
That flyer for that right on my wall.
I hadn't seen her perform in real life, but her voice just was so captivating. It was like a moth to the flame.
She was off that night too a little bit. Her keyboard didn't work, so she actually had to do all of her songs on guitar, which she wasn't used to, and she still pulled it off, and it was great.
Killed it.
So what time do we got exactly?
It is 8:26.
It is 8:26.
Yes.
All right, folks. Well, that's about us for us.
That's about us.
That's about us for us. Oh man,
we did it. A live one.
Yes, we did a live one. This was fun.
That was
yeah, thanks for Donovan for joining us. Thanks for Donovan for joining us. This episode will be up digitally, audio-y on like August 1st, like our normal episodes. We'll have the next one up on August 15th. That'll be episode 60.
Holy.
60 episodes.
Soissons.
I literally
for our Montreal friends.
Like, I swear, like, it seems like it was like last year someone was like, "You're at 20 episodes," and I can't believe how much we've done. So I think that's awesome.
That's a lot of work.
On the next episode, we'll have new music from Stress Dolls from her new album. I also got some cool music from Peter Kern, formerly of the band Sheridan. He made some solo stuff during quarantine. We're gonna play a little of that. I don't know who our guest is just yet because that's the kind of way we function here.
Love it. It's a surprise.
It's a surprise.
Yeah, it's a surprise.
It's going to be an awesome surprise.
Hey, Leslie, you're a co-host. Can you unmute yourself?
Is she there?
I've been trying to. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Yay!
Hi.
Hello.
So, Leslie, what are the Living Dead girls going to be talking about today?
Oh, I have to turn off that virtual background. I don't even know why. I wonder why I'm sideways. Isn't that hilarious? And why am I even sideways? That's so bizarre. I've never liked the virtual background stuff. I don't like it. So you have to have a green screen for it to be good. I also don't know why I'm sideways. I might stay sideways. Maybe that'll make this more interesting.
It's exciting, yeah.
Let me see if I can turn this. It says rotate. I've had to do this before. There we go.
Hey.
Oh, we're all fixed now. Okay. Hi. Really great show. I don't know if Donovan is still in here. Donovan, are you still in here? Did he leave?
Maybe.
I think he did.
I just want to take a minute to say that Donovan, I've known Donovan for over a decade, and you know, his work with the Infringement Festival, long distance and here in person with us is like one of the reasons the festival has sustained as long as it has. A lot of people don't know that because Donovan doesn't really like shout that out, and really he's a really humble person. But you know, there would be no infringement at all if it weren't for Donovan. So yeah, I strongly encourage everybody to support his project. Find him on Facebook and give him your support. He's a really, really, really good dude. So
cool.
I just thought I'd add that. Yeah.
We'll jump to you guys in 1 second. I'm just going to end our episode, and then I'm going to stop recording it, and then I'm going to start recording again, so we record yours.
That's fine.
All right. All right, folks. Thanks for tuning into the Struggle is Real Buffalo Music Podcast, our live Buffalo Infringement Special Festival Spectacular. That's what I'm going to go with. Folks, enjoy the Living Dead Girls podcast coming up next, and just remember that life is tough, music is tough, everything's tough right now, so just be kind to everyone, because that's the least you owe them. So, Leslie, I'll pass on to you in 1 second. I just want to make sure I got recording going. Lewis, sing some fade-out music for me.
Oh, good, Donovan is in here. Thank you, Donovan.